So welcome to the Transition Podcast, Anthony. Thank you for coming on.
Dude, actually good to be here, bro. Are you kidding me? Like, this is I've been following you for a minute now, and like what you're doing, I really like the concept. I really get the idea of what you're trying to do.
I appreciate that, man. Like we were discussing prior to, this is just a passion. As an ex-athlete, my transition was one that was very challenging, specifically emotionally, and I don't know, man. I just had this desire and passion to one day. Sorry about that. Phone's blowing up today. So I had this passion and desire to talk about my transition. And as I started doing that, I started to realize more and more that people were having, I wasn't the only person challenged with transition, you know? Right. And when you're going through that emotional challenge in your life during that time, you almost feel like you're the only guy going through all these feelings.
You almost feel like you're in a vacuum.
Dude, I
like
literally...
nobody understands me. I'm just here by myself, just trying to figure it out.
And what makes it worse is when I wasn't talking about it. You really do believe that this is only happening to me. I'm the only guy on the planet, right? There's 4 billion people, but only Fernie is having these issues. So... No, what's scary is, and then what I really loved about it was when I finally engaged, and I'm going to talk about, you know, this to my family and to my friends. Dude, I went through that, or I'm going through this. You feel that? Do you feel those emotions? Do you
sense of community?
Yeah, bro, it was unbelievable. So now, I've been blessed to have a podcast. I would have never in my wildest dreams imagined that. So here I am. Welcome.
So why was it so rough for you?
What was rough for me...
Now we flipped the script, right?
Yeah, so... No, I've said this before, right? So what was rough for me was... I was an athlete. I identified with that. That's all... When I thought about Fernie, I thought about baseball. And...
It was your identity. It was where you found your identity.
It's where I found my identity. When my environment changed, when I left the diamond or that structure and I came into what I call, quote unquote, the real world, I was completely overwhelmed, dude. I really didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I thought I had to reinvent myself, and we can talk about that, where I realized that I don't have to reinvent myself. That actually I had the entire time the game had prepared me for life. Right. I just wasn't self-aware about that, and now I think self-awareness is actually one of my biggest and strongest attributes. So yeah, I mean that's what happened to me was, hey, from one day to the next, the rug was pulled from underneath my feet, and I no longer had to go into a weight room. I no longer had to take batting practice. I no longer had structure. I no longer had a locker room. I no longer had all the friends I had, and I was exposed into an environment that I was not used to. From real talk, because I don't like to from family issues that I didn't even know existed, or I had kind of put on the back burner, to who am I? And during that whole process, I always had faith. I always believed in God, but I think, for 7 years there, I really, God and I had a lot of conversations. Nice. And some of them were fun and funny, and some of them were very they were tough, man. They were very uncomfortable, and I broke, but I was breaking in a good way, and it made me stronger, faster, and bigger, faster, and stronger. So I'm grateful for it.
There's so much there that I wanted to write down, because the self-awareness part is big. The finding your identity outside of sports is big, and that's something that everybody has to deal with. You see a lot of people coming back from the Army. They don't have that structure. They come home, they're like, all right, well, what do I do now? Like, everything that I had was tied into what I was a part of, Yeah. So for me, out of high school, I was playing basketball and football. Finished out basketball in high school.
I saw on the gram that you love basketball.
I do. So I play basketball since I was a little kid.
I'm the best 3-point shooter in the insurance business.
Yeah?
Yeah. And at JAG, for sure.
At least I'm not in the insurance business.
I know you guys watched the whole JAG video yesterday with Lewis. We do it to help his,
his confidence.
Yeah, it's a confidence booster.
It's like he's not here, so we can't trash him. But
yeah.
I grew up playing basketball. I played at Killian. My district was Tim Hardaway Jr., now plays for the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah. Played at Michigan, right?
Yeah, Michigan signed an $80 million deal, has a house in Star Island or whatever. So that was on one side. Another guy that went to Alabama, another guy that went to Barry. So we had a lot of talent within our district. And we were just this ragtag group of guys, all kids that I grew up with, that we went to the district finals, almost won. Tim Hardaway beat us with 45 points. And my next step, I was always looking like, I know I want to play basketball in college. I just, where am I going to do it? And again, I graduated high school in 2010. So this is pre-transition of small ball basketball where you have 5 shooters and everybody can go around and score, and you don't have to have like, okay, this is my center, this is my 2 guard. So I was a big guy that could shoot from anywhere and had decent handle, but not quick enough to play guard and not tall enough or big enough to play forward. So I was like this tweener where I could go out and be like a JJ Redick, but that hadn't evolved yet within the college game. So I went to Miami-Dade. I walked out of Miami-Dade. Yeah. So I was going to be a preferred walk-on there. I had torn my meniscus, had it redone my senior year. So I missed half my senior year of basketball and was working on my knee. When I come back, I'm doing summer ball, tear the other meniscus, have to have it redone. Come back, tear every ligament in my ankle and my right ankle.
So was basketball like that was your life?
It was everything. It was
everything evolved. Was around basketball.
Yeah.
Even your parents, right? Like,
for sure. My dad.
And then he has a game. Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's what it was like. That's why my little brother, like, people gravitated towards that sport. And I think I gravitated towards it a lot because my dad played too. And he used to play back in the day. And he would always show me, like, newspaper clippings. And I'd be, oh, wow, this is the greatest thing of all time. So as I grew up, that became part of our life. And just, AAU, we're going to go to Orlando. We're going to go play basketball there. We're going to have a tournament in Port St. Lucie or whatever. And that kind of makes the gravitational pull of the sport is where you find your identity, right? So I found myself being like, okay, I'm a basketball player. I'm like, I know that's going to be my future. I just have to figure out my spots. And I don't know if I was as self-aware as I probably should have been at 17, 18, 19 years old, which is, again, it's normal, man.
It's tough. It's tough, and again, you're not self-aware, and you don't see the day that you're not going to play.
Right. You're like, I'm always going to play, and I'm just going to try to figure out exactly.
So when you got hurt, right? And you started to kind of realize that maybe basketball was coming to an end. What happened?
I was burnt out because I got hurt.
Mentally?
And then I came back, and then I came back and I got hurt again. And I was like, man, like I keep trying to make this happen, and I keep getting hurt. Like I have a really good friend of mine played baseball at Killeen, went to University of Miami, got hurt at University of Miami, went to 4 or 5 different schools and got hurt almost at every single one of them, and finished up, got his entire degree paid for by baseball, but was never able to do what he wanted to do, which is play professionally.
You know what's funny? When I was in the minor leagues during off season, I would help the strength and conditioning program at Killeen High School.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, family. Then.
Yeah, that was in 2007.
I was there around that time. I went from 07 to 10.
Yeah. So maybe you may know
Angel Nicholas.
Yeah. Was
a shortstop.
I
trained him. I've reached out. We've caught up with each other lately.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Angel Herrera. By the way, that was a huge loss, not only to me and my set of friends.
That's who called me, man. To go.
Angel was.
I don't even know what happened to him.
He had some challenges. I think he had some heart problems that were he didn't really know about, but. So all of my best friends beside the basketball team were all the baseball team. So I would go into the locker room, we'd be in the dugout, like we'd be hanging out in the clubhouse. He was like a couple of teachers of mine, and when
who was the big left-handed pitcher? Last name Mason, right?
McVeigh.
McVeigh, dude.
Played at FIU.
Yeah.
He was there. I think he graduated 2008, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, there's a lot of talent that came in and out of Killeen. But yeah, when Angel passed earlier this year or late last year was tough for everybody, and that's part of that transition.
I saw that,
That's part of that transition because a lot of my friends who had that connection with him were like, man, like that was the guy that taught us how to be men. So I think it's important to have that self-awareness of, okay, I was burnt out. What do I do? And I think that was the toughest transition for me, which was, okay, I'm not playing at Dade anymore. I'm just a regular student. I had no idea what I wanted to study. I had no idea what I wanted to do with myself. And I was just like, okay, I'm hurt. I'm trying to rehab, and I don't really know what the next step is. And that was in 2011. I went from 2011 to basically 2013 in a really like nebulous point where I was like, I don't really know what I want to do. I'm here. I'm just floating, and I think that's a tough place to be when you have that structure, which is what you talked about.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, and it's funny, man. Every athlete that's ever come by here, we all talk about the same story, and I gravitate to athletes because I'm an ex-athlete.
Right.
But I guarantee we talk to musicians, artists, anybody who has any sort of commitment and structure to what they're doing,
For sure.
doesn't matter what it is.
Right.
If that comes to an end, how do you pivot? How do you transition? How do you bounce back? And it takes a lot of faith, man.
Yeah.
A lot of faith is involved in that. It's funny, when we first hired our COO, she came from Regions Bank, and she managed 13 branches. She had been in corporate America for a long time. And we're having dinner, and she looked at me, and she said something to me that really, really caught my attention. She said, "You know, Fernie, one of the things that I've learned in throughout my career and from mentors and whatnot is that the only thing that's constant is change." And I never really looked at it that way. And if you really focus on what's going on around us, the only thing that's happening is constant is change.
For sure.
We're evolving and we're growing. And I truly believe, Anthony, that if you're not evolving and if you're not growing, you're dying.
For sure.
Right?
If you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards.
Correct, man. And I think that we are placed in this earth by Almighty God to move forward, to maximize your talent, to live your purpose. And then when your day is up, your day is up. But, we're not here to take a step backwards. And that's where I credit. That's when it's, when you're in a dark place and you know that you're in a dark place, but inside of your heart of hearts, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
That's
where
I was.
I think everybody has that though, right?
I was in that dark place, but I was like, somewhere in that, in my soul, I was like, I'm going to be fine.
Yeah.
I don't know how right now. And I never really got to the point where I didn't see the light. There was times the light was...
It's dim.
It's dim.
It's flickering. It's back there.
But man, and then I credit that to having been taught, and I think I have it in my blood as well, the perseverance and the ability to overcome challenges since I was a child.
Yeah.
Since I ever crossed, into a baseball field or a football field or a basketball field, I mean, I had survivor skills, man. It's just something I've always had, and I think it's something that we all have. It's just whether or not you are self-aware of them, or whether or not you know how to utilize them.
Right. It's almost like working out, right? Like we all have muscles. Everybody's got muscles here. The thing is, when you start working out said muscle, then it starts, oh, wait a second. Like, I'm looking pretty good here. It's starting to work. And some people never work out that muscle of perseverance. Like, as human beings, like, we are made to adapt and survive. Like, from 10,000 years ago, whenever we had the first person who figured out, hey, I need to make a fire to survive, like, that was innate in us. And I think the teaching of perseverance is best done through organized team sports, because I don't think that there's somebody that I know that has gone through certain things and hasn't made it out better because of what they were taught in sports. And again, like yourself, probably the network of people that you have around you are mostly ex-athletes. All the people that I know are mostly ex-athletes that have that same gene, because as we think we're shooting or we're taking grounders and taking BP or we're doing whatever, like that's building character that other people aren't getting when they're going home and playing video games or going home and doing whatever. Like they don't have that structure and that perseverance of, okay, here's the goal. We're going to get there by doing X, Y, and Z. And then people lose that structure. And then when you get out of it and you never had it, what do? You look around and say, okay, like I don't know if I can get past this point. And
I don't think I could agree with you more. I think that the mind of an athlete is special, and it's programmed to do just that. It's programmed to survive. It's programmed to build character and perseverance and discipline. You know, that's another thing that was another weird transition. Was, you know, I came out of a I call it a structure. We can call it an environment.
Yeah.
We can call it whatever best suits you or whoever's listening to this. But, you know, when practice starts at 8:30, I'm there at 7:30. Right. I come into the world and the guy shows up at 8:45. So I'm already like, holy shit. Dude, you're late. You're an hour and 15 minutes late in my book. You know? And then having to adapt to the difference, the average mindset, dude. Right. Because when you're playing sports and you wanna, or you know what? Let's cut sports off. When you're committed to something, you're all in, dude.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have to do the little things when nobody's doing, right? We're all paying attention
When nobody's
to.
looking.
I said that for 2020. How many times have I said that? Who are you when no one is looking? That's when you find out if you have character, integrity, and the self-discipline to want to be successful.
Yep.
Because everybody wants to be successful, but nobody wants to pay the price.
Exactly.
Everybody wants shit for free. Everybody thinks that the whole, we all need a trophy, and we should worry about my self-esteem.
Or just because I'm a good person, I'm going to have something good happen to me. And
Correct.
It's like, okay, but all the work, and what I find funny too is that people that get to a certain modicum of success, right? You see a rapper, you see an artist, you see a sports figure, you see personality, you see anybody.
An actor.
Whoever. People see, oh man, this guy just got 20 seconds ago, all of a sudden now he's famous. They don't see the back end of 15 years of grinding, 15 years of eating shit for a long time until they finally broke out. And then all of a sudden it's, I'm
You speak my language, man.
All of a sudden I'm here now and it's like, man, this
I
guy
love
just
this
got
guy,
here.
dude. I'm so glad he's on.
This guy's famous now, just
Well,
all of a sudden. And it's
I'm going to give you
all of a sudden it's not it.
a fundamental example. Where you're at today in your career and in your life, were you there 5 years ago?
No, not even close.
Not even close, right?
We can get to that in a second.
Okay. Where I'm at a decade later is not even close to where I was at, right? Like, people walk into this office now and they see, a beautiful office in the middle
Hey, you got
of
the
Coral
Google
Gables.
setup, you got everything, walls.
This is badass, dude.
Yeah.
I love my office. I'm not afraid to say it, and I feel confident, saying it. And look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
No, the view's incredible.
It's incredible, right? So we started in a one office, one desk, 3 laptops, straight hustling. Straight focus, preparation, vision, but funny. We never mapped out how we were going to get here, but we saw it. And that is the power of vision, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, vision is super, super amazing. And now we have a creative media department. We have a podcast. So I always tell Johnny, and I tell Juan, and I tell Luis, I'm like, man, I wish I could have documented years ago. Because even them, they're here now, but they'll never understand.
They weren't even a thought in your mind when you were 3 laptops.
Dude, I got kicked out of the collection, bro, trying to insure it. The guy ran me out of there. Knocking on doors. I'll give you another example. I would find the house in a gated community, right? And I would identify the risk. I'd profile it, and I'd do a quote, right?
Without the person asking.
No,
just like I'm there at the front of the house.
Dude, imagine I drove
like this. Hello.
Yeah, right. And then I will find a community like Lennar where kind of homes were kind of a little bit like similar structures and whatnot. Right. And then I print out 300 papers with the same quote, and I put John Doe. And I'd wake up in the morning. I go to BK on 72nd Avenue and Corway. Okay, I make myself a medium thing of coffee. And I would drive into, I'll give you an example. I did it at Cutler K. I can remember clearly. Right by Old Cutler Road and 170-something Street. I went in there. I don't know how the hell I got past through the gates. Dude, and I would knock on people's door. I probably shouldn't say this, but I broke the law. Because
the statute of limitations is over now.
Yeah.
You're good.
It's all gone. I will put quotes in people's mailbox with my card, and I started to insure homes. My point is, it's just I had to start from the ground up, right? Yeah. My first job in insurance is I was a receptionist. My first job in baseball was I hit T-ball.
Yeah.
Then I became an account executive. Then I went to coach pitch.
Right.
Then I became a producer. Then I got to kid pitch.
Pony.
Then I became a partner. Then I got a college baseball. Then I became a principal. Now I'm in the big leagues.
Right.
It's the same concept.
Right.
There's no difference. There were certain steps that I had to take, and life and the marketplace and society didn't feel sorry for me.
Right. Nobody does.
Nobody cared. Nobody cared I played baseball. Hey, man, appreciate it. That conversation went five minutes. Now it's okay. How do I adapt? How do I evolve? How do I grow? How do I prove myself? The same way I proved myself to the White Sox organization, who not only drafted me once, but drafted me twice. How do I prove myself to the insurance marketplace that I'm here to stay?
Right.
Right? But it's the same thing. And I think when you start playing the long game, you start winning. But if you're going to play the short game and you're just looking for the next paycheck, you're looking for just the next, your vision is right there, you're not setting yourself up for success. You've got to play the long game. You got to be willing to eat shit.
Yeah.
You got to get your ass kicked.
Yep.
You got to fail miserably. You got to cry. You got to miss a rent payment. And it's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine. Because if you can do that, eventually, when you get to the other side, it's a wrap, dude. And now you have something that I have that I didn't have when I play sports, right? You have a faith, not only in God, you have faith in yourself and a confidence level that you've never had.
And that changes the game.
It's over. It's a
It
wrap.
changes the
When
game.
of course it does, man. Your confidence level can drive you, or it can
Sink you.
sink you. And the only way that you build confidence is by failing. I think failing is winning, because you failed. It's a learning experience. You know, dude. You know what, man? To keep things into perspective, right? If you lose an account in business, or if you strike out, right? Dude, you're not in a hospital dying, bro.
Right.
You have options, bro. You can wake up the next day. You can go home and think. You can drop a plan. And you're not like saying, dude, you know what? I don't know what my options are. Right?
Right.
Think about that. And I know that we can lose perspective, and I do too.
For sure.
But
No,
I like to keep myself in check that way.
Absolutely. And it's good to keep yourself grounded that way, which is important too. So just going back, because you said 10 years ago you would have never seen where you are now then. And it's almost like, do you wish you had a bigger vision than what you did? Are you always looking for that next?
I'm already somewhere else. Like right now, I'm talking to you, and I'm seeing the horizon. Right? I'm always.
And that's what I like about people, man. I like when people are on the same like wavelength as you. When you're thinking of, okay, I'm glad we're here. I'm glad we've got no walls. I'm glad we have this modern office, but I want so much more than what I see right now. And I think that's the hunger that keeps everybody going. And then there's a lot of people that don't have that hunger.
I want more, but more because I'm in love with learning, and I'm in love with the challenge.
You're in love with the process.
I'm in love with the process.
That's tough, because not everybody's born with that love of the process, right? Because people want guaranteed results before they go through the process. And that's the thing, like, okay, I know I'm going to get to this point and I'm going to have to do all this. Okay, then I'll do it. There's never guaranteed that you're going to get to that mountaintop, whatever it is, in sports and business and life. It doesn't matter what it is. You're never guaranteed there. But if you bust your ass every single day, the chances are that you're probably going to get there better than somebody else who just says, oh, well, it's too hard. It's too tough. I can't make it there. Like, I'm right now at a place, Fernie, if you told me, we're in 2020, if you told me in 2016, okay, 4 years ago, which is nothing.
Yeah.
It's a blink of an eye. 4 years ago that I'd be working with ESPN, working with Dan Levitard, a guy that I grew up listening to. Like, I grew up listening to Dan as a 13, 14, 15-year-old kid, where I realized, like, wait a second, like, this guy does something that I want to do. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to get there, but that's what I want to do. And that was my toughest transition when I left playing sports. When I left Dayton, I was like, okay, I'm not going to be able to play college basketball again. Like, I know that. You know, like, I just felt physically burnt out, mentally burnt out, just rehabbing from all this stuff. I was like, I'm done. I still play recreation and play every Wednesday. Like, I'm still in the game. Yeah. But at that point, I'm done, right? I left from Dade. I went to Valencia up in Orlando.
Okay.
Transferred over to UCF. That basically 9 months that I was in Orlando was just an absolute wash. I feel bad for my parents. They're probably listening. I'm sorry, okay, that I wasted time and money. But it was at a point where I was 20, 21 years old, didn't really have an idea of what I wanted to do, was able to be on my own, be by myself, where I was like, I want to go get drunk as hell on a Tuesday night. Like, I can do whatever I want, right?
But you grew up there.
Right. I grew up a little bit, but I had to come home to grow up.
Okay.
And that was the difference. So, like, I was there at UCF. I was doing, like, I didn't even know what I wanted to do, man. I was doing interdisciplinary studies, which exactly, like, I don't even know what that means. But I was there, and I was like, I'm going to just do this.
I just wanted to be eligible.
Right. Well,
as long as I had a 2.0, I'm like, I'm playing.
Exactly. So the thing is, when the grades came back, and
by the way, I graduated with a 3.1. But
I graduated with a 3 point something too. Depends on how you look at it. What metric system you use.
Mine's just really weighted.
So I
came out just fine, dude.
Yeah, no, we all do.
Yeah.
We all leave just fine from school. It's just what did you learn and how do you like make that work for you? But I went from UCF. My grandfather gotten sick, and so I came down, and luckily I was able to be here until he passed. So that was a really interesting moment in our life because he was kind of like the rock of our family. And
was that the first loss you ever encountered?
Yeah.
So I lost my grandfather.
22-year-old kid.
I lost my grandfather I was I was 19, and it was the first loss of my family.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. But what was weird, going back to this, is we were talking about this. It was almost like it was happening, but it wasn't. It was
Right.
I was like in a blur.
It's like a dream.
Yeah, and then I'm watching my dad cry. It's what's really crazy is I was on my way back I was playing baseball in JUCO in Kansas, and I was on my way back. And I don't know if I had like a vision, dude, but I've always had a little bit of that intuition.
Mm-hmm.
I had this gut feeling something was wrong with my grandpa, and he actually passed away.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's
So that's what. So 2013, I come home. I'm able to be here for a little bit. He passed away in March of 2013, and at that point, I'm just getting back into FIU. I just started going to school again after a hiatus of like 6 months or so, and I started realizing, okay, what do I want to do? Because I'm in this really weird place of I don't really know who I am without being able to attach myself to something like sports.
I know.
And
do you still think? Okay, you said the word attachment, right?
Yeah.
And that's a key word. Do you feel that you're attached to what you're doing now?
Yes and no, and I'll tell you why. I find that what I do is not who I am.
Okay.
And that's the biggest point, right? Like that's the overarching point of what we're talking about is what I do is what I do to make money, what I do because I'm passionate about it, but I don't find my identity in being somebody in media. Like that's not where I find my identity, right? Like I find my identity elsewhere, like with my family, with God, with the things that I do that are not that. You know how LeBron talks about I'm more than an athlete, right?
Yeah.
That's what I feel like, and I feel like everybody feels like that. Like you're more than an insurance guy.
No,
You're
I'm going to give
so
you an
much more than
example. You know, this is who I am. I'm more of a coach. I mean, I love to teach. I like to learn. Like right now, I'm learning from you. But so I think there's a purpose and there's a calling, right?
Yeah.
Like I can't have this podcast without fulfilling my purpose, and my purpose is to build a company and have enough create jobs and generate revenue. So that allows me to then live my calling.
Yeah.
Because if JAG, I'll be quite frank with you, if my company was not successful, then I wouldn't have time to even should a podcast. I wouldn't have a creative media department. I mean,
still be hustling.
We've bought into this on the insurance side, but think about it. It would change a whole lot of things. But I've been able to separate that. You know, I figured that out at 30-something years old. You figured out much earlier where, like, you know what? Yes, I am not Fernie the business guy or whatever. I am, you know, I know my calling, dude, and I know who I am now.
Yeah.
You know? I'm very anchored there.
Yeah, and that's the important part, man, because at that point my grandfather passed away, and I didn't feel myself anchored. You know, I had my girlfriend who's now my fiance and future wife, and we were going through a tough time, and I think it was mostly because of what I was still working on internally, where I was still a kid dealing with loss, dealing with the reality of, okay, now I actually have to figure out what I have to do and like what I want to do, because you know, you can get lost in, okay, I want to do something in sports. How many people say they want to do something in sports and never do it because they can't, because they don't know how, whatever the reason is, right? Luckily, I was able to get grounded with FIU. I was able to start writing for the newspaper, and I was like, wait a second, like I like this. I started doing radio. I was like, wait a second, I really like this. And then that's when the spark happened, where I remembered back to growing up listening to Dan, listening to guys that I respected so much behind a microphone, that I was like, oh shit, this is it. This is what I want to do. I need to be able to do this, which is what we're doing now.
Which is how you found your game again.
Exactly. And I was like, wait a second, that's it. That's the spark I needed.
But you put faith into action.
Oh, for sure. Oh,
right?
Dude, I'm still putting faith into action.
So, like,
are you kidding me?
You weren't lucky.
No.
You signed up at school. You made yourself something, carried you to then start journaling, which then led to this and then led to that.
Oh, for sure. But that was just a bare small.
I'll give you an example. This Juan right here. Juan is a journalist major who ended up in insurance. Was he really living what his calling is? No, his calling is to write. His calling has always been to express himself. The guy's, he's legit at that. That's what he does. But him making the effort to find that Could you have ever imagined you were gonna end up in the insurance business, in a media department, and head of journaling? You can't script that, but your effort. It wasn't your luck, dude.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people believe in luck, and we can talk about that. It was your effort. What I do believe is that when you make an effort towards something, sometimes the ball starts bouncing your way more than others.
For sure.
And the ball started bouncing your way because of the effort that you were putting. Life starts giving you some breaks. I don't know why, right? That's the mystery. But life doesn't start giving you breaks until you start putting the effort.
Yeah.
And really attack what it is that you want to do.
For sure.
That's when you get the luck. Yeah, we can call it luck. You got the lucky bounce, but you created the lucky bounce.
Yeah.
You put yourself in a position to get the lucky bounce.
Oh, 100%. And like
you know
you
what
said,
I'm saying?
the faith and the working to make sure that I get that lucky bounce has been starting since then. So at that point, I said, all right, I got to get in the game. I went to a local radio station. I was like, hey, I want to be a producer. I just want to push buttons in the back. Simple job. Like, hey, you know, the guy's mic's turns on, you put the fader up. Not you. Okay, you put it down. You click here. You do that. And I'll never forget this to this day. The guy I reached out to, finally through 8 different people, was able to get to the guy that had some sort of influence. And I was like, hey, bro, I want to be a producer. Like, I think I'm good enough to do this, and this is the field that I want to be in, this and that. He's like, all right, yeah, give me a couple weeks. Like, we're figuring something out. He calls me back like 2 weeks later and says, you know what? You're just not experienced enough for this job. And I sat back and thought to myself, and again, when it comes to my passion, when it comes to my career, I'm a really chill guy. But when it comes to stuff that I really care about and really passionate about, like, I have this edge of like, wait a second, I'm not good enough to push buttons behind a computer on a board like that you can teach a monkey to do. I think they have monkeys in space that do more than board ops do at a radio station. So how are you going to tell me, and again, this is all playing in my mind at 25 seconds, how are you going to tell me that I'm not good enough to push buttons and lift faders up and down? So that really set me off. And he's like, well, what I can do, and this is where I changed. This is where faith in acting really changed, I think, my destiny. And I'll tell you, it's crazy because he goes, listen, we don't have a producer job available. You don't have enough experience. But we do have a promotions job available. And you can do that until a producer job becomes available. And I was like, okay, well, what's promotions? He's like, basically, you're part of the team that goes out to remotes and, you know, sets up promotional things. I'm like, okay, like, I'll do it because I'm so hungry that I want to be there that I'll do anything. I don't care what it is. Bro. I don't care what it is. I'm there. I'm in the building.
I'm in the team.
Dude, within 2 weeks.
I got a uniform on. I got a number.
Yeah. Within 2 weeks, I'm the best guy they have. But, Fernie, I'm going to car dealerships in the hot-ass sun, putting up tents, putting a spinning wheel for people to spin, and then I give them a T-shirt. Dude, I was there from February of 2016 to September of 2016. Fahau. Just like eating shit. Okay, July 4th, I'm at a thing in Fort Lauderdale spinning wheels for 15 hours. Sitting there like, damn, this sucks. Like, this is not what I want. But the perseverance that I had made the other station available. And then I was able to jump over to the other station and say, hey, I need a producer job. They said, boom, you're in. I go back to the guy that told me, hey, no, you're not good enough to be a producer. 3 different jobs had opened up and closed without me getting that job at that same station. And I go, hey, I'm going across the street because they offered me a producer job. I'd like to be here, but I'm going to take that job over there. And he's like, all right, good luck.
Shame on him.
Within 3 years, that guy was out of a job.
Yeah, well,
that's one. But if we go back,
he couldn't identify talent.
No.
Obviously,
absolutely not. Which is probably part of the reason. But I was at that station from 2016 of September.
You were a threat to him.
Yeah, for sure. But again, as a kid, I was still at school. I had just graduated FIU. I was 22, 23 years old, and from September of 2016 till the April of 2017. I was being a producer. I was doing like odd ends, odd jobs and stuff just to keep doing what I wanted to do. ESPN calls. Hey, we want you to head up podcasting at ESPN up in Bristol.
You had no idea.
Like, me? Yeah, you. We love your work. Like, we love what you're doing. Like, we want you to come up and interview. We're going to fly you out. I fly up to ESPN. This is in June of 2017.
That's awesome.
Fly out to Bristol. I'm in the mothership. Like, you see the game, it's like all of this, as far as you can see, is all ESPN. Just building after building after building after building. I get there, a kid from Miami, had never been to Connecticut before. I didn't know any of this. And all of a sudden, in a matter of a year and a half, from spinning wheels at a car dealership on July 4th to being at the ESPN campus saying, hey, you're good enough, we want you to head podcasting. It's like, holy shit, like this is crazy. Fast forward, I moved there July of 2017. I'm there from July 2017 to November of 2018, heading podcasting with the biggest people in sports. Whoever you name, whoever you talk about, whoever you watch on TV, I was helping a podcast. I was helping do whatever.
That's amazing.
And so it was funny when you look back.
Now you can critique me. Like, where can I get better? That's good, dude. I'm serious.
I can help you out. The biggest test, and I haven't really talked about this any media I've done, but the thing is, I like the short time that we've talked, like I feel open enough to kind of spit with you on this. This is the first time I've talked about this, at least,
openly.
The biggest test was November of 2018, late October 2018. I've been up there for a year and something. Want to come back home because I've got my family here. I've got my fiance at that point was here. We've been together since high school. So we've been at that point almost 9 years together.
Wow.
And she was like, hey,
it's time.
Like, what are you doing to be able to come back home? So I was down here almost every other weekend trying to find jobs with the Heat, trying to find jobs with the Marlins, trying to find jobs with the Dolphins. Like, whatever I could do to get me here, I was looking for, right? Anything in media, anything in sports. And just, dude, every single door just kept closing. Boom, close. And I'm just sitting there like, God, like, I thought, like, we've gotten so far in this, but now I need more. I need to get back to home. Like, I got to go back home. And just every single door, quick story before I talk about the other stuff. I flew down one day from Connecticut on a red-eye flight in the morning at 6 a.m. from Connecticut because the Heat had a job fair.
Wow.
I came in dressed in a suit with 25, 30 other people in line, drenched in sweat, like waiting to get into this job fair. I finally get in, and I go to the guy at the front. I finally wait 15, 20 minutes or whatever. I get to the front of the line. They had a media production job available within the Heat. And I put my resume down aside to the guy. I'm like, all the 75 people you see here, I'm the most qualified guy for this job you're going to find. He looks at my resume. He's like, yeah, I work at ESPN. I literally flew down today to be here from ESPN, from Bristol, to come down and tell you that I'm the guy for the job. Oh, my God, yeah, no, this is amazing, whatever. Write down his email. We exchanged cards. Fernie, I never heard from the guy again. I flew back that night, sent him an email. Hey, bro, thank you for everything. It's not. Never heard from him again. LinkedIn, emails, calls, voicemails, nothing. And that was the last straw for me. This is late October. I'm saying, shit, man, like, I don't know how much further I can go without going to the guy's house and like breaking the door down and being like, yo, like, what's the deal? Like, tell me.
I'm your guy.
Right. Like, either tell me yes or tell me no. At that point, don't leave me like a kite in the wind where I'm just like, maybe he's going to get back to me, maybe not. And at that point, I'll never forget, it was a Sunday night. I was watching Sunday Night Football. I was chilling on the couch. I was like this, whatever. And I look under my arm, and I had like a weird bump under my arm right here. Right? You can see the scar on it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, I'm like, this is kind of weird, whatever. I called my mom, hey, I don't want to like freak you out or anything. I got like a weird bump under my arm. Just want to let you know. I don't know if that's something that we should be worried about, whatever. She's like, look, let's fly down, go to the doctor and see what's going on. I'm like, all right, cool. So this is late October. I get there and we go to the doctor. I start feeling around. I was like, that's kind of weird. Like, we don't really know what it is. What we're going to do is we're going to do a biopsy on it and see if it comes back, like what it is, because we just have no idea. That same day, went into doctor's hospital, stayed the night. They took the biopsy the next morning. For 40 some odd days, we had no idea what it was. We knew it could be cancerous. We just had no idea if it was, what it was. We had no clue. So this is November of 2018. We're getting to December now. They're like, look, we're going to have to do a second biopsy on it because we don't know what it is. Like, it may be something where we're going to have to take it out. That's what we're going to do. So I go into the knife again. They take that out. And they're like, yeah, it is. It's Hodgkin's lymphoma. Cancer. We were like, oh, shit. Like, okay. The funny thing is, this is not the first time I've had it. This is the second time I've had it. When we talk about perseverance, at 5 years old, I had stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So, and that was right here. I had a ball like this big as a kid, as a 5-year-old. You can still see the scar right here where they took out the tumor. It was like that. So when we talk about perseverance, like, dude, I've been in this game for a long, long time. So didn't bat an eye. Okay, that's that. All right, let's take care of it. 2019 comes. I get radiation for a month in February. I'm down here in Miami. Like, I can't go back up. My boss is in Connecticut. I'm like, look, like, I can't be in Connecticut and have treatment down here in Miami. Like, it's just not going to work. Thankfully, the bosses that I have at ESPN are the best. Like, just I would not trade them for the world. They were able to let me do my job down here because I can do stuff remotely. And I was down here saying, all right, well, I'm nervous because everything's good with this. I'm healed. Like, we're good. We're doing the 6-month checkup. Are they going to ask me to go back to Connecticut? And that's what that was my biggest nerve, right? Not that I had cancer, not that I was like, oh my God, like, what's going to happen? It was like, oh shit, am I going to have to go back to Connecticut and just go back to what I was doing? And within 2 weeks, I had a call with my boss and his big boss, and he's like, hey, look, what we want you to do is stay down in Miami and start working with the Levitar people with their podcast, with their show, and this and that. Dude, I sat there on the phone just in absolute awe.
Because it all came back full circle.
Came back full circle, bro. Came back full circle. And like, what I had to experience to get back to where
you had been already thinking about since you were a kid,
since
bro.
I was a kid. Think about that full circle where I'm sitting
and think
there,
about everything you went through.
Everything I went through, all the stuff that I had gone through, somebody telling me that I wasn't good enough to be a producer, to come back to ESPN, to then get sick, to then come back.
Amen, bro.
And now I'm here doing what I manifested as a kid. You know what I mean? And when you look at
and you another key word, dude, you manifested it.
Yeah. And it's crazy because I'm at this place that
so you saw it.
I saw it.
You didn't know how you were gonna get there,
right?
But it happens,
dude. Every day I would look at him and be like, I'm gonna be there one day. I have no worry. The thing is, like you said, in the dark tunnel when you can't see the light, when it's so far, you're like, I see like a little speck, like you see a star in the sky. I see a little speck, but I think it's there. That's what I was for years, man, years. And I'm getting to the point now where if you would have told me 3 years ago I'd be here, I wouldn't believe you, right? But now I have the appetite. This isn't good enough. I need more. I need to be able to do more. I need to be able to see more. I need to be able to expand more. And that's the season that I'm in right now is that, man, I love where I'm at. I love working with the guys. I love doing that, but I need more.
And define more for you.
More is being able to do all the things that I've seen my mentors, the people that I respect doing, right? Like right now I'm behind the scenes, behind the camera. What more is for me, the next step for me is you being able to see me on TV, you being able to hear me on podcasts, you being able to hear me on the radio. Like that's the next step for me. I don't know how I'm going to get there.
It's going to happen.
But it's going to get there. And like that's the thing when you're, and I feel like we struggle with this daily of like, I know I'm going to get to this certain place. Like I feel it. I just don't see it, right? And sometimes God shows you the mountaintop but not the valley, or sometimes shows you the valley but not the mountaintop. And that's kind of where I'm at right now is like, I know I'm going to get there someday. I just don't know how.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Shoot.
Do you have a little fear in you?
Every single day. Every single day.
I know you do, and that's why you're going to succeed. If you would have told me no, I would have called bullshit.
Yeah.
I wake up every morning thinking that I'm going to lose JAG. Or I'll lose my house. Or that I can't pay for my kid's school.
Yeah.
And that's what motivates me more than anything else is that failure is not an option.
Right.
The minute I lose a little bit of fear or the minute that I get comfortable complacency, you are going to get punched straight in the mouth. I wake up every day thinking it's not good enough. And I don't look at that as a negative.
No.
That's a positive.
The fuel. That's the fuel, bro.
It's my sense. You know, Tebow, I follow him on Instagram. I'm a Tebow guy, and some people don't like him, but a lot of people love him. I'm one of the guys that loves him. He was talking the other days. He's like, if you don't have a sense of urgency,
you're done.
You're done, bro. There has to be a little bit of that anticipation. Again, I'm used to being in the outfield, man on first and second base. I'm thinking, okay, ball in the gap. I'm probably not going to be able to throw the guy out, but I can stop the runner who's on first base from getting to third base.
Right.
Like, I'm constantly anticipating. Or, you know what? It's a 2-0 count. He's showing patterns that he's going to throw. So my brain's always thinking ahead. I'm wired that way. And, you know, for a long time, my friends and my family didn't understand that about me. I'm like, dude, but think about it. It's all I know. All I know is that tomorrow I can lose my job. Tomorrow I can be in the bench. Tomorrow there's a kid in the Dominican Republic right now. I took 100 swings. He took 200.
Why? Because he's hungry.
Because he's hungry.
Because he's hitting with a stick.
So I want to be at the top of the food chain.
Right.
Or I'm going to get eaten.
Right.
And that is, I think, the difference maker. I truly, genuinely believe when I look at successful people, they have the one common trait. They all have fear and insecurities.
Yeah.
And they don't let the fear control them.
Yeah.
Right? Which is what I was doing, right? They take the fear as, you know what? I think fear is an emotion that God gave us for a reason, right? Like, imagine if you're in a jungle and you're not scared, then you're not alert.
Right.
Probably get eaten by a lion. You're not, you get alert, you're alive.
Your
senses, dude.
Wake up.
You can smell.
Yeah.
I gotta eat. I gotta live.
I gotta survive.
Right? So you use that fear to drive you, right? It's a good thing. It's a healthy thing. It's when fear grabs you by the balls and sinks you down and chains you.
Yeah.
And says, you can't do this, and then
you won't do this.
Well, dude, it can paralyze you.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Paralysis when you're scared is something that affects a lot of people. And you said something interesting. It's insecurity, right? Like fear is one thing, but the insecurity of am I good enough is another thing. And I don't know if that happens with you guys or with you personally. I have that all the time where,
of course,
am I good enough to make it one day, like to see like all the people that I've grown up watching, like can I do that one day? I don't know. And then that's the thing that you almost have to switch off in your mind, like, all right, let's work on this right now. Like don't worry about that. Don't think so far ahead that you're getting bogged down by something that is not even here yet.
And again, I thank God for sports, because that to me is also a generational mind pattern. Give you an example, and this is I'm going to give a real practical example. You work hard, and let's say you want to buy yourself a nice house. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
I mean, it's a blessing, right? And all of a sudden, you've been in this house for quite some time. You've grown. You're healthier financially. Your kids are getting bigger. You start arguing a little bit about your space, right? And you're saying, you know what, man, I want to, maybe it's time to upgrade, right? And I'll say that, you're like, no, because, if something happens and,
how can you afford it?
And then your parents tell you, but stay in your house and it's safe. And that's the whole thing, is that you start, if you have those habits and those mind patterns, they start to control your life.
Yeah.
Right? And the same way you bought the house that you wanted, you can do it again. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that you cannot allow the fear and other people's fears stop you from your growth.
For sure.
Oh,
no, absolutely.
And sometimes there are generational patterns of thinking in households and in families where you kind of feel like, this is all I got. This is all I can do.
There's a ceiling.
There's a ceiling. And then, dude, I could never survive in a communist country. I'd die. They would kill me. I'm serious, bro. What I'm trying to say is I don't like to have a ceiling over my head.
Right.
When Fernie has a vision, Fernie wants to go after it. If I fail, it's my problem. I didn't get to it, but I don't like that. And fear could be your best friend, or your worst enemy.
Yeah.
But I think that, one of the things I've talked about in this podcast so much is really, really, really looking at your fears in the mirror and saying, what's the worst thing that can happen to me? The worst thing that can happen to me for me is that I die and go to heaven. I'm game on, bro.
Right. That's not the worst thing.
I'm game on now. But that's where faith plays a huge role.
For sure.
Because if I didn't have that faith, maybe I wouldn't think that way.
For sure.
Nobody wants to die, bro. Now, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure we all get to a certain point. But my point is that, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go ham. I'm not saying do nothing stupid. I'm not saying live beyond your means. Don't misunderstand me. But what I'm saying is, if the vision is big, the vision is big, dude.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. And if you have it, the vision that you have is God telling you it's already yours.
That's good. That's good.
Or else you wouldn't have it.
Yeah.
It's already yours. Just go get it.
It's the manifestation that we talk about.
No doubt.
And I was blessed that my dad he's a visionary guy. He started his own companies. He's done a lot of stuff in business. And I get that. You talk about the generational mind thing, the mind patterns. That's what I have from him, where I'm going to get to this unachievable goal by some people's standards.
Mm-hmm.
With or without you, you can jump on the bandwagon or not. I'm going to get there no matter what.
Just don't slow your train down, right?
Right. No matter what, I'm gonna make it because this is what I feel is mine, right? And that's a big thing. Where that's why I asked if you did it all over again from the 3 computers in a closet, like you said, would you have thought bigger?
Yeah.
Would you have thought bigger? Because
I did. Yes, because I did think I had limits.
Yeah.
But that is something that and I don't mean this in a bad way, and this isn't gonna sound bad, but my family already knows me and they understand what I'm trying to articulate.
Yeah.
To listen to this. It started when you're a child, right? You're brought up, and usually the way you're brought up is how somebody else is brought up, right? We kind of create, again, this is why I go back to thinking patterns, right? You kind of start mimicking and start saying or start acting like how you were brought up.
yeah, what you see.
Once you become self-aware and you realize mom and dad aren't perfect, and that's okay.
That's a huge realization, by the way. That's huge.
That's okay. Mom and dad love me, which is all they owe you. They don't owe you money. They don't owe you a house. All they owe you, I believe, is you owe your children love. But if you can also be self-aware and have the emotional intelligence to realize, okay, mom and dad don't see past this. That doesn't mean that I can't.
Right.
As a matter of fact, my dad always tells me that my grandpa told him, I brought you into this country to make you better. And your children have to be better than you.
Yeah.
And the word better for me means growth.
Yeah.
We all got to grow. And the minute that you become self-aware that it's okay that mom and dad don't see that for me. It's not that they don't want to see it for me. It's just that they want to make sure that you're okay.
Yeah.
They want you to be safe, but they're doing it for them.
Yeah.
Right? It's their way of protecting you. And I'm sure I'm going to do it for my kids. I probably already do, and I'm not even self-aware of it, right? Right? But you say, dude, I'm going to shoot for the stars, and I'm going to play my game. I'm not going to try to be something I'm not, but I know that this is my game, and that's where I want to go. It's game on, dude. And then the rest, it's why I always say chase after your destiny. Run after your destiny.
Yeah.
Run after it relentlessly. Because, Anthony, there's no finish line.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really
There's no
funny
finish line.
point, man. That's such a funny point because when you get to a finish line that you made for yourself,
You're going to have another goal.
the goalpost moved a little bit further, and you're like, wait a second, I just got here. Yeah. Why is it now 100 yards back that way? Like, I got to the Levitard show, and I thought, that dude, if I get there, like, I'm happy. And it's not that I'm not happy, because I'm absolutely happy. I'm grateful, like, a million times over. But I'm not content, right? Happiness is very situational for me. I find myself, not that I'm not a happy guy, because I am, but I find myself having happiness elude me because of the fact that I had a man-made finish line of, if I get to this point, then I'll find happiness. And then I get to that point, I'm not happy. And that's happened to me, I don't know how many times in my life. I'm here, and it's like, I should be happy. And then I look around and say, you know what? I actually want to do that. That'll make me happy. And then I'm in this constant chase of, I need to be happy if I do that.
And it's all about the journey.
Yeah.
Think about it this way, right? And I think we can have this communication, but we all have the same faith. Does God ever stop growing?
No.
Just, right? It's just omnipresent, right? Just a continual growth and continual I mean, he's working, right? He's
Yeah.
he's just constantly working, right?
Within everybody at the same time.
If
somehow.
you're made in God's image, then why would you stop growing?
Yeah.
There's no difference. He doesn't stop working. You're made in his image, so you never stop growing.
Yeah.
Now, when things stop growing, they start to die. And the beautiful thing about life is a man. Think about how dangerous it can be to not have a vision.
Yeah. Well, where there's no vision, people perish, right?
You took it out of my mouth. I always told Johnny that. Where there is no vision, that people will perish.
Yeah.
And that can be in your family, and that can be in your
business.
In your business. You know, if you're not growing, if you're not trying to get better, if your weakness is to jump to conclusions, to not be a good listener, you got to evolve and get better at whatever it is that you're doing and whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. So, growth is what we're here for. And having the passion and the drive and the dream to do that is unbelievable. And I'll end this growth conversation with, if you're not, how do I say this if you stop growing, right? I'll make it even more easier. An athlete has a window, right? What we call his prime or her prime, right? Right now, you and I are in our prime, right? We're healthy. We have a drive, we have a passion, we have a fire. I do believe that at some point in our life, there will be another transition.
Yeah.
And the transition is going to change, because that is the cycle of life. The transition is going to be, well, one day you're going to have grandchildren and you're going to be a father. And what was important today in this drive, it's not that it fades away, but it evolves.
It refocuses.
The shift, it's a very natural shift, right? Every human being experiences it at some point in their life. We need to take advantage of the desire and the passion that we have now for what it is that we have now. Especially when it comes to growing financially, growing as a human being, really setting the foundations and spiritual strength for what awaits us later on in our life.
For sure.
Right? Because only God knows the challenges that we're all going to have as we get older.
Right.
Right? So this is a constant, beautiful pattern of evolution, of us just really evolving, dude. And yeah, man, I that's the whole point of this of transition, is that I don't think transition ever stops.
Yeah.
I think we're in constant transition. Some transitions are a little bit tougher than others, but we're constantly in transition. So let me ask you a question. What is your dream? What do you really want?
That's funny, man. What do I really want?
And it's okay if you don't.
It's
That can evolve too.
No, it
but
will
today,
evolve. Today,
2020, what's Anthony focused on? What's the goal right now?
2020, I think there's a difference, right? I'll get to the dream. 2020 is continuing to expand my reach with my own voice.
Okay.
Being somebody that can stand alone in media, where I get the respect that I feel that I can have.
Okay.
Because of the fact that I can create and I can talk and I can do a lot of the things that people can talk, do, want to see, and have that be something that I can, again, stand alone and create. What I love to do is create, whether it be video, whether it be audio, whether it be whatever. Like, that's the nature of what I want to do, and have people laugh, have people think, have people feel. you know? And so for me, 2020 is about being able to expand my reach on creativity, on what I want to do with media. Goal-wise, like my dream is to be able to be an influence for people to know that things aren't that bad, right? Like, and what I mean by that is creating my own lane where people can use it as an escape. Where I had a tough day at the office, let me listen to this guy. He's makes me feel good. He's funny. He's this or that. Or let me watch him on TV because his show is funny, or his show, makes me think, or his show challenges me in some way. Like, my goal is to be a voice of a certain generation, right? Like, and again, we talk about big vision, big goals, and when you say voice of a generation, like, that sounds like, oh my God, like, this is the biggest thing of all time. But the world has become so small with social media, with Twitter, with Instagram, where somebody can be a voice of a generation, and they've 5 years ago, 10 years ago, they wouldn't have been that because of the fact that your phone connects you to everything. Your phone is your entire world in the palm of your hand. So I think that's my dream. And again, it could change, but my dream, my goal, my vision for my life is to go down a path where people know me for inciting some sort of feeling, right? Happiness, laughter, joy, thought-provoking.
You want to be a light.
Yeah, I want to be a light to people. And I think the means in which I can do that is creatively through radio, through podcasting, through TV, media, whatever it might be. Like, that's the avenue that I want to use to help people. And I think that's overarching, like, that's the biggest goal for me in this lifetime.
All right, so I guess we can wrap this up by me telling you it's already yours. You just said what you want.
Yeah, bro.
It's yours. Go get it.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you for being on.
Dude, you kidding me?